You know what really drives me crazy is when someone messages me on the forums via Twitter or Facebook or you name it, and they tell me, "Hey, listen, your preference and your settings are wrong." And I'm like, "Come again?" And the person would say, "Your preference on Red Dead Redemption 2 HDR, it's wrong." And I'm like, first of all, maybe you need to go back to school and learn the English, learn the meaning of the preference. There's no such thing as a wrong preference. There's only preference. And that's what it is. It's my own preference. Now, you don't have to agree with my preference. You don't have to like my preference that I have implemented here on Red Dead Redemption 2 HDR. But guess what? They're my preference. It's my recipe. You don't have to enjoy it, but it's mine. So then he says there's this individual and other individual out there says you need to go to Digital Foundry, Digital Foundry this, Digital Foundry that, Evil Boris this, Evil Boris that. Listen, Digital Foundry has their own way of doing things. Okay, they like to use professional calibration. I don't believe in professional calibration. That is my choice. Okay, now if this bothers you, well, too bad. Go and just watch Evil Boris and just go and watch Digital Foundry. I have nothing against Evil Boris or Digital Foundry. I follow both of them, but that's their opinion. That's their preference. My preference is I don't believe in professional calibration. Okay, and I know a lot of professional calibrators in the past, and the reason I don't agree with their way of doing things is because the computer, the software that's programmed by certain standards that some guy, some individual decades ago has implemented it onto a software as a standard, and now everyone's using that standard. I don't believe in that. Do you know why I don't believe in that? Because it's impossible. It's impossible for that software or for that equipment to tell me what's the best settings for my preference. Okay. Just because the computer tells you that this needs to be at a certain level doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it. Doesn't mean that your eyes will like it. Okay. This is why we have picture options. This is why the manufacturers, television manufacturers from Sony, Samsung, LG, Vizio, you name it, all of them, TCL. This is why they give you the option. They give you the option to adjust your picture settings. Do you know why they give you the option? Because everyone's different. Everyone sees things differently. Everyone has a different eyesight vision. Some people are colorblind. When they see green, they see orange. When they see red, they see pink. When they see blue, they see purple. When they see black, they see gray. So everyone has a different preference. Everyone has different vision on top of the preference. So this is why the picture settings options are there. And this is why they also give you the option of motion flow. Some people love soap opera. You know what's that called? That's called a preference. That's not wrong. That's just preference. So this whole thing, I get really tired of this kind of stupidity that's being on the internet. First and foremost, guys, I share my preference. Okay, but some of you are acting as if Digital Foundry, it's some kind of like a mecca, like some kind of religion, like where you have to, like some kind of a law, like a martial law where you have to use these settings, and they can never be wrong. Their settings can never be questioned, and they can never be wrong. And yes, they can be wrong because not everyone's going to enjoy their settings. Okay, I, for one, don't find their settings to be that good for me. for my preference, because I like my content to be a bit brighter. Okay, that's just me. That's my preference. All right. And I don't know why is this so difficult for people to respect or to understand, you know. And if you want to go by Digital Foundry settings and what they tell you, then by all means use their settings. But then don't come back to me and tell me, oh, what do you recommend? No, no, no. Don't ask me what do I recommend. You already got your religious Digital Foundry settings. Go and study it. Go and pray to it. You already got it. You got your Pope, Evil Boris. Why don't you use his settings and enjoy it? Okay, I'm not here to do what the others say. I have my own preference. I have my own thinking, my own critical thinking. Okay, I'm truly free because I don't have any strings attached to me, nor do I go and listen to what Digital Foundry always says. Sure, I go look into some of their videos to see what they have discovered, what their views are on it, but does that mean I should just take everything they say for granted? No. And it's not just them. There's other calibrators out there whose settings I didn't like for the movies and for the video games. I didn't find it good. Even the settings that was recommended for the KS8000 from Digital Foundry back in The Last of Us, when they gave the settings for The Last of Us, I didn't like them. I didn't like them either. So what I'm trying to say here basically is, guys, there is no wrong preference. There's only a preference. You know, and this is my preference. This is what I am recommending here. This is what I recommend. This doesn't mean that you have to take this as some kind of a law where like you have to go with these settings. This is it. This is the law. This is the religion. This is, you have to pray to this. This is it. No. This is my preference. I'm giving you my preference. My preference is cinematic with 1500 nits, and I clearly said for those of you who have a 1500 peak brightness television should use this. Okay, and the paper white I left it at 350 because I don't like it to be dimmed. If I move it all the way down to 100 or to 130, that's not natural. That's too dimmed, and I don't want my picture to be dimmed. I want my picture to be bright, especially on the HDR. Okay? There's nothing being clipped here at 350. You want to see clipping? This is clipping. When you go to 500, now you're clipping. Now you got yourself a smoke and a fog over there. Here at 350, you're good. And this is where I recommend it. All right? But I find it laughable. I find it really laughable when I would have somebody tell me, hey, yo, your preference settings for the HDR, it's wrong. I'm like, really? I was like, really, dude? Like, my preference is wrong? That'd be like me saying to you, your preference of driving Honda Civic, it's wrong. You need to return that Honda and get yourself a Fiat. That's the correct way of driving. Even though you will barely fit into Fiat because you're 6'7". Okay? I'm just making some examples here. Look, there is no such a thing as the wrong preference. There's only a preference, guys. Just like there's no wrong opinion. They're all opinions. No opinion can be right and no opinion can be wrong. They're opinions. That's why they're called opinions. Same thing with the preference. I'm giving you the preference for you guys to try it. You don't have to love my preference. You don't have to cherish my preference, but at least you should try it. But don't tell me my preference is wrong. Okay. The problem with some of you is you guys need someone to tell you how to think, you need someone to tell you how to piss, and you need someone to tell you how to shit. You're not using your own critical thinking, you're not using your own two eyes to adjust something. You need to go to Digital Foundry to find your settings. And that shows me with what kind of audience I'm dealing with. If you need someone to tell you, if you need someone to tell you what TV to buy, if you need someone to tell you how to adjust your settings, and if you need someone to tell you what video game to play, then man, I feel sorry for you. You will not experience anything if that's what you are actually doing. Okay? No one tells me what I should watch. Maybe I didn't like the Avengers Endgame. Maybe I didn't like the movie. Even though it's the biggest selling movie, it defeated the Avatar. Maybe I didn't like it. Maybe I didn't like the fact that Captain America got married. Maybe I didn't like the fact that Thanos got defeated. Maybe I didn't like that. You don't know my preference. You know. And this is what drives me crazy. But one thing I want to make clear, I have nothing against Digital Foundry or Evil Boris. I'm subscribed to both of them. And I'm pretty sure they know who I am. Pretty darn sure they know who I am. I have nothing against them. Nothing. But I don't simply do everything they tell me to do. Oh, you need to use this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to play like this, you need to play this version. No. I have my preference. That's why it's called a preference. Okay, and you too should have your own preference. I mean, look at this. Look at this picture quality here. Even at night, during a moonrise, when it's cold, where it's like 30 degrees, and it's snowing, even here, you clearly can see all the detail. You clearly can see how beautiful it looks. Okay. So anyway, I really wanted to just to do this video and just clarify a couple of things. This nonsense, people telling me that, your settings are, your custom preference settings are wrong. No, they're not. That's why they're my custom preference settings. But you should go with the professional. It's like, no. Who's professional? Hold on a second. Who appoint these calibrators to be professional? Who? And who was the person that came up with these standards? This is where you needs to be. This is where the digital black levels needs to be. This is where contrast needs to be. This is where sharpness needs to be. Who are these individuals that set these standards? Do these individuals know my preference? No. Do these individuals know your preference? No. Does the computer software knows your preference? No, it doesn't. Does the equipment knows your preference when it's measuring that contrast, when it's measuring that luminance brightness, when it's measuring the color? Does it know your preference? It doesn't know your preference. Why? Because everyone's different. Some people are colorblind. Some people will see green as yellow, and some will see red as pink, and some will see blue as purple. It's called being colorblind. Some people's visions is not that great. They can't see the clarity the way maybe you can see the clarity. So there's a reason why the television manufacturers give you this option to adjust your picture settings. Do you know why they give you those options? Because everyone has a different preference. Okay? If there was such a thing as this holy grail professional calibrating settings that you can implement for all of your content, if such a thing did exist, guess what? No manufacturer would ever bother giving you the options to regulate and to adjust your TV settings based on your preference. That's why it's called a preference. And that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing my preference. There's no such thing as a wrong preference. Okay? And I think that's the whole point of this video. So hopefully this clarifies this idiotic, really idiotic and stupid notion where some people will, and there's, believe me, there was like 20 to 30 people on my forums who told me on the messenger, on the Facebook messenger, who told me your preference settings for HDR on Red Dead Redemption 2 are wrong. They're wrong. All because they saw Digital Foundry. Because they saw Evil Boris, and Evil Boris, I guess you're some kind of Messiah. I guess you're some kind of Jesus or Moses. I don't know. Maybe you are, dude. I don't know. Maybe you're the Moses of TVs. I don't know. Or Digital Foundry, it's like some kind of a god, that's, watching you and telling you what you need to do for your TV. Listen, guys. Preference. Learn the word preference. What I'm doing here is giving you my preference. You don't have to use my preference, but there's no such thing as a wrong preference. There's only a preference. Okay? There's no such thing as a wrong opinion. There's just opinion. All right? So please, let's not twist things around. Let's not have double standards. One standard, it's more than enough, guys. I don't need two standards. I need one standard. And I'm here to share my preference. I do these videos, and I've been doing these videos for 6 years, not because I call myself a professional. Nowhere do I call myself a professional. I never use that word. Find me where I say I'm a professional. It doesn't even say it on my profile page on the YouTube. I'm not a professional, nor do I want to be a professional. Calibrator. I'm here to share my unbiased consumer point of view on everything, from televisions to VR headsets to video games to all of the above. You don't have to agree with my opinions, but that's what they are. My thoughts and opinions. Same thing goes with the television. When I'm adjusting these settings and when I'm recommending these settings, I'm sharing my recipe. You don't have to use my recipe, but it's there for you to try it out. And that's what it's all about. For you to try it out. I don't know why is this so difficult to understand. Like, why is this such a difficult task for you to process, to understand? Alright, this video has gone really long. It was 18 minutes. So remember, guys, before I end this video, Arthur Morgan's freezing. Before I end this video, no such thing as a wrong preference. There's just preference. Okay? And my recommendations, my custom settings are free for you to try it. You don't have to like my settings, but I think you should at least try it. And if you don't like my settings, guess what? You don't have to use them. You can go back to your original settings. But the best part about this is it's free. It is free for you to try out my settings. So what's the complaint? You're going to complain about something that somebody is sharing for free for you to try out. If you don't like this settings, listen, brother. If you don't like my settings, these settings right here, if you don't like them, guess what? It's real simple. Do not use them. I'm not forcing you to use it. I'm sharing it. I'm sharing my settings for you to try it out for free. Unlike professional calibrators, they're going to charge you a lot of money. Okay? Why is this so difficult to understand? Alright, now having said that, there you go. I hope you guys like this video. I hope this video clarifies some of the confusion out there that people have with this whole thing where people are saying that my preference settings for HDR are wrong. Just just think about that for just before I end this video. Think about that sentence. My preference is wrong. My preference is wrong. And I'll leave it at that. All right, guys. Well, have a good one, though. Take care. See you tomorrow.